Hi, this is Everett, Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to Simply Drawing with Everett. Now today I'm going to do a makeup of last time. We did a drawing with color pencils, and it was called Construction Area. Had a couple figures in it, and I did everything in colored pencil, including the background and the trees and the grass and so forth. But I didn't complete it as far as blending it and so forth. So today what I thought I'd do is to take that where I left off from that video called Construction Area, and I'm going to go ahead and use the Holbein blender, which is called the MELTZ, and use that with a water brush, and I'll go and finish that little drawing up and turn it into almost like a watercolor painting. And I think it'd be a good demonstration. So let's go over to my drawing table and let's get started. Okay, well this is a scene, as you recall, if you look at the construction area video, which was last week, and I'm going to use the same information. So let me show you what it looked like. What I left off last week, this is what it looked like. I'm going to show you there. Now that's where I left off with just the colored pencils. I got the colors in there, but I didn't do any blending with it. You can see there it was kind of a preliminary setup right there with the colored pencils. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead, go back to the board now. Now I'm going to go ahead and what I've done, I got it covered up here. I took that same that same drawing that I did last week, and I added a little more detail to it. I cleaned up the edges a little bit, added a little more color, and added some more color pencils on it. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the MELTZ, and this is a water-based blender for color pencils. This is the Holbein's color pencil, which really works very well. This is called a MELTZ Blender. I use this with a water brush. It's just a brush with just water in it, and I just put that on here, and we're going to see what happens. So now I have a little tray here, and open up the MELTZ and put a couple drops here in a little tray. Okay. Now what I'm going to do now, first of all, I'm going to start out here. Let's see. I think I'll start with we'll start with the figures. So I just go I take the brush into the mix here. Just load it up with the MELTZ. And I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to put the color into these figures we have here. So I'm blending now the colors that I put on there. You can see here that the blender, it just flows automatically, just like water, and it really gives almost the look of watercolor. And I think you'll see the difference here when I do something. Let's see, let's do the safety helmet here. You see that pop right out. We'll get that on there. Okay. I go down here and get the boots on. So I'm working with the lighter. Well, here I'm going to just start with some black. Get the black in there. The black boots. So you can see already how vibrant those colors come out. Now let's go over here. Now what I do, I also remember I put in some jaune brillant for the skin tone here, so it will show up against the dark background. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. That would arm and the facial section. Okay. Now let's go over now and get this. We'll get this other figure on this other side. Same thing. Use the blend. I'm going to start with the outfit, the yellow outfit. And we'll get the helmet, the safety helmet. Hard hat. Get the dark boots, and also get the skin tone. It'll be the jaune brillant was the name of the color pencil I used. It's a light brown tan color. Okay. Now, I think what I'll do now is, for details, I'm still going to work on I'm using the round water brush, and I've also got a flat over here. But let's start with it. So I'm just using, this is a little more detail. I'm going to go in now. I'm going to get the pole here and put that in. You can see how all it's really darkened that up real fast. They're using a real point now with this round brush. Yeah, that darkened it up real well. And we'll get this one over here. Okay, and before I leave the figures, let's see. I got this orange trim now around this outfit. Get that orange trim. Get that in, and around the boots down at the bottom. And a little bit of orange trim over here. Okay, all right. And I think what I'll do now, I'll still use the round brush. And I'm gonna now put in the signs. The next little smaller. So this was I used two reds over here. I used the scarlet and carmine red over here with a stop sign. And you can see here. Now I can take my time now, go around the letters, and bring that color out. Especially this red now, you can really see the difference when I put the blender on. It's going to make it really come out very strong. Because red's a very strong color anyway. But I decided it would. I left out. I didn't allow not the time, but I didn't want to put the time in blending this last week when I did the color pencil. I just want to get the color pencil exercise in, just to show you how I chose the colors, and then actually put them in on the drawing. But then I decided, well, I need to go back and blend these out a little bit, and just show you the real power of this MELTZ Blender. It's so easy to use. It's just like painting over it with water. That's all it is. But it's a solution. There, that really, look at that stop sign. Really pops out. Now I'll do the same thing over here for the slow. This yellow orange, red orange. Really colorful. This sign's a little smaller, so, but it does show the slow. Does show the slow. Okay, now what I do now, I'm going to switch brushes because now I'm going to work in some larger areas. So I'll close this up, and I'm going to put. I'll just drop out. I've used very little, so I'm going to put a few more drops on here. Make sure I have plenty to go around because I got a larger area now to work with. And I'm going to move to the my flat. This is a flat water brush. It's about a half inch. It's a half-inch size. And I'll put that into. I dip it right into my little tray here to load it up with melts. And I think I'll start with the lighter colors first, which will be the green. This is the grass green. And I think you'll see this really pop out really strong when this is blended. I reload again. I went back in and just got a little more melts on here. This MELTZ is water soluble, so the water pen is really ideal. So I can also dilute slightly a little bit if I wanted to. I could dilute the solution with the water that's in the brush. So I got both things working for me here. I got the MELTZ Blender fluid, liquid, and I've got water in the brush if I need it. So what I'm looking for is this effect I'm going to have here. This is almost going to look like a watercolor painting when I'm finished here. Okay, because I'm using water and water on top of the color pencils. And this MELTZ Blender is a solution that helps move the pigment around, the dry pigment. You know, when the color pencil is a dry pigment, and now we're wetting it and then spreading it around. So I recommend start with like I'm doing here. Start with the lighter colors first, because when I get into the darks, I don't want to muddy up the light colors. So I'm going to start with the lighter colors first, the yellows and the light greens, which I've done here. And when I go into the darks, it'll be around outside of that. I go back to my little tray here just to put more melts onto the blender, just to keep it nice and fluid. It doesn't take much to spread this colored pencil. Okay, well, that's a tree. Now now I'll just go around and touch up some of the edges here just a little bit. You always want to have edge control, which means I want a little rough edge. And when I come around with the darks, I'll also mark it up a little bit also. Just going and retouching a little bit, making sure I have nice edges around that. Okay, now I'm going to make sure I'm going to do the grass now, so I'm going to go ahead and load. So I just drop in a couple more drops. I'm really doing one drop at a time. I'm doing 2 or 3 drops at a time. And then I'm going to take the flat brush, load up the brush, just put my brush here, just like I would if I was painting a watercolor. Okay, let's start down here at the bottom. So I'm going to go over across. I'll do a nice broad stroke. Load up the brush. So down here I can do a nice wide brush, just like I would watercolor. Okay, this is blending the colored pencil very nicely. I think here you can see the difference if I bring it up. The blending. This is blended down here at the bottom. I haven't blended it up here yet, so we'll see see a little difference here, but it does a nice job on blending the colors. Now we'll start here with the grass up here, around the figures, behind the figures. I'll load again. With a flat brush, nice big flat stroke. I really feel like I'm painting watercolors now with the brush, with the melts on and the colored pencils on the paper. I feel like I'm doing watercolors. Okay, now the last stage is going to be the darks. Okay, so those are going to be the most interesting. So I'm going to make sure I have enough. Again, I already got fluid on there. I'm going to add a little bit more, and just so I have enough mixture. I probably, if I total up there, I probably use about 12 drops of melts. So let's go here now and get into the dark areas. Now this was a mixture of Prussian blue, and I had forest green. I had a little bit of burnt sienna. I also added a little bit of black in here, just a dark, make sure it was nice and dark. So it's kind of a blend, but mainly it was the forest green mixed in with another blend of some of the other colors on top of that. Now I'm going to come around here and make sure I got a nice dark background behind that highlight of the bushes, the low bushes here in front of the trees. Now I'm not going to finish up. I'm not going to go way to the end of the paper here. I'm going to stop it right there at the top there. Make kind of like a short painting here. I'm going to give a little brush strokes. You can see the brush strokes in the paper. Now some of that, you can see some of that Prussian blue coming out. There's a lot of blue in that. But of course, the green has a blue, also. Now, once this is dry, you can always go back in and layer. You can layer over top of it again. I'm not going to do that, but I mean that's with colored pencils. You can just layer. Once you get one layer down, it dried, or when it's finished, then you can go back in and layer again. You can re-layer as many times as you want, as far as getting a deeper color. We're not going to do that today. I'm just going to go ahead and use the mixture I have here, just to get that dark. This is a dark color. I'm not really interested in making sure it's exactly what the photograph was like. I'm just having a demonstration here of using the MELTZ Blender in that colored pencil. Coming around, these are bushes that are highlighted with the sun hitting the top of them, just like it was in the photograph. You can see in the photograph on the left, I'm just putting those highlights here into the drawing. Right now I'm going to come around this sign over here on the right. And that's going to help, with the dark behind that, it's going to help highlight, emphasize the dark against the light. Taking advantage of that right there. That dark color against the light color. There's also a little bit of contrast. The orange against the bluish green is also a good contrast. Getting around this little safety hat. I'm still going to use a flat brush. I could go in and use the round brush to be a little more careful on the edges, but I'm just taking I'm slowing down here, making sure I cover the area. Okay, I got one more dark area over here behind this other figure, and I think I'll put a little more drops on here, so I make sure I have plenty to finish off. 2, 3 more drops. Load up the brush with more melts. I'll come around this sign over here, the stop sign. Again, now we got green against red, which is another contrast. No, it's dark, but it's also color contrast. That's a double contrast. I've got green against red, and I've got dark against lighter. Because I can make actually, green and red are about the same value in the color wheel. But when you add blue to it, it makes it much darker. So I have a dark green against a dark red. Come over here on this side. Get this side of the sign underneath. Okay, we're coming down to the final points here. Get around this figure. But I thought the demonstration today would be very good to show the results here of the colored pencil because you can draw. I mean, drawing with color pencil is a great way to produce art. Also, I mean, you do a drawing with a regular pencil, but then you can use the color pencil to give you some color, and that's what we did on this. That's what we did on this drawing here, was to use the color pencil to get the design in. And now with the blender, we're really making a different impression here of the color, because the blender really is making this color meld together, giving us a nice contrast. Go around this little figure here just a little bit, not to be exact. And finishing up here around the hard hat. Nice sharp edge. Get a nice sharp edge with a flat brush. Right down here at the bottom. Get a horizontal stroke, just like watercolor. Okay, now I got some blue in the brush. Now what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go in here and just kind of put a little bit of shadows here, and this light green, just to break up the shape a little bit, give a little texture. So I'm just using what's in the brush and adding a little texture here to these light colored, highlighted branches and leaves here on this bush. Don't want them all the same. There. Okay, well, I think that's the end of the demonstrations right there. As far as now, really today was to take that drawing which we did last week, which I had, and what I did was I went and I cleaned up some of the edges before I started, and then I went ahead and used the MELTZ Blender with a water brush. The regular, and these are both available on my website. The MELTZ Blender and the water brushes on my website, everettwatercolors.com. And I had a good time here drawing. Look at that red sign. It really pops out. The yellow sign also. And I think I'll bring it up closer for you to see. You can see here the blender. And that, the brushwork gives you a little bit of texture look in the grass, and also in the. Now I can go back in later and add another layer for more detail if I wanted to. But I think right there that gives the idea of using the color pencil and now adding a blender really to pop out the colors. Okay. All right. So let's go back to my main camera. Okay. Okay, that was a lot of fun today. I like drawing with color pencils. I always have for many years. But I didn't want to leave that drawing unfinished. And I think by finishing off with the blending, I think that makes me feel like I've accomplished it a little bit. And I think also being able to demonstrate the MELTZ Blender, how it works and how to use it. Okay, you need a brush with water and a little tray, and just spray it on. Just a few drops. I think I used maybe 15 or 16 drops to cover that whole painting. I covered almost everything except for the roadway. I left that white. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that today. I did. And give me a thumbs up and a like if you like that, and I appreciate that. Also, subscribe to my channel, everettwatercolors.com, on YouTube. And I'll be back again next week with another demonstration drawing. In the meantime, Everett's Watercolors, I do a watercolor demonstration. Also, this will come out on Thursdays, so I'll see you there on the video. So until next week, you all stay safe, stay cool. It's warm out there. But in the meantime, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.